A lighter sits on a garage floor. A body burns inside a car. And a man watches from the trees, wearing a dead boy's clothes. This is the story of a man who owed $400,000, who took out a $6 million insurance policy, and who murdered a 20-year-old stranger just to become him. But the corpse he left behind told a story he never expected. Raymond Sellers was 40 years old, married, seemingly stable. From the outside, he looked like a man who had it together, but underneath that surface, Raymond was drowning, not in water, in silver. Years earlier, Raymond had borrowed a massive sum from the government. His plan was simple: invest in cars, flip them, make a fortune. But the car business didn't work. The investments turned to ash, and the debt, it didn't disappear, it compounded, meaning it grew larger and larger over time, like a snowball rolling downhill, gaining weight with every passing month. 50,000 became 100,000, 100,000 became 200,000, and before Raymond could catch his breath, he owed more than $400,000. Imagine waking up every single morning, knowing that number is waiting for you, knowing it's growing, knowing you can never outrun it. Most people in that situation would file for bankruptcy, start over, accept the loss, and rebuild. But Raymond wasn't most people. Raymond didn't want a fresh start. He wanted an escape, a permanent one. And the idea that entered his mind was as sinister as it was calculated. Sinister meaning deeply evil, suggesting hidden danger. What if he didn't have to pay the debt at all? What if Raymond Sellers simply stopped existing? Raymond went to his wife, Lorena. He sat her down and he told her the plan. "I'm going to die," he said. Not really, not physically, but on paper, Raymond Sellers would be dead. And when Raymond Sellers dies, his wife collects the insurance. Lorena listened, and she didn't say no. Together, they walked into an insurance office. Raymond didn't choose a basic policy. No, he chose the most expensive plan available, a policy that would pay out at least $6 million. $6 million. The monthly premiums were enormous, almost impossibly expensive for a man drowning in debt. But that was the point. The bigger the policy, the bigger the payout. The bigger the payout, the bigger the new life waiting on the other side. But there was a problem, a very big problem. For Raymond to die, someone had to be found dead. He needed a body, a corpse, a man who looked enough like him to fool the authorities. And Raymond couldn't find one, so he made a decision that changed everything. He wouldn't find a body, he would make one. Raymond decided to kill. He began searching, watching, studying strangers in public places. And one day, at a local supermarket, he found his first target, a man browsing the aisles. Similar build, similar height. Raymond approached him casually, started a conversation. "I run my own organization," Raymond said smoothly. "There's good money in it. We could work together." The man was skeptical, meaning doubtful, not easily convinced. He listened to Raymond talk. He nodded politely, but something felt wrong. The organization had no office, no website, no employees, no proof it even existed. The man pulled away. He stopped returning Raymond's calls, and on the day they were supposed to meet at Raymond's house, he never showed up. Raymond's first attempt had failed, but he wasn't done. A man this desperate never stops at one try. Raymond went hunting again, and this time he found Danny. Danny Hollis was 20 years old, just 20, barely an adult. He had a family, a mother who loved him, golden hair that caught the light, and a trusting heart that had never encountered a predator like Raymond. They met casually. Raymond used the same script. "I have my own company. There's real money in this. I'll pay you double what you're making now." Double. That word landed like magic on a 20-year-old kid working a basic job. Danny didn't hesitate. "Yes," he said, and with that single word, his fate was sealed. But what Danny didn't know was that Raymond had no company, no organization, no job to offer. The only role Danny would play was the role of Raymond's corpse. Raymond invited Danny to his house. "Before you start working," he said casually, "let's go over a few things. Come by my place. We'll talk in the garage." The garage. Remember that word. It becomes important very soon. Danny agreed. He showed up on the scheduled day, eager, excited, ready for his new life. He had no idea he was walking into his last day on Earth. Raymond led Danny through the house, past the kitchen, past the hallway, into the garage. Inside sat a car. "This car needs some mechanical work," Raymond said. "Take a look." But first, Raymond handed him a piece of paper. "Sign this," he said. "Standard paperwork. Just put your name here." Danny signed. He didn't read it. He didn't question it. He was 20. He trusted the older man standing in front of him. Then Raymond pointed to the shelf behind the car. "There's something back there I need you to grab." Danny turned around. He leaned forward. His back was exposed. His guard was completely down. And in that moment, Raymond struck. The details of the killing are difficult to share, but what came next reveals the meticulous nature of Raymond's mind. Meticulous, meaning extremely careful and precise, paying attention to every small detail. Raymond undressed Danny. He removed every piece of the boy's clothing. Then he dressed Danny in his own clothes, Raymond's shirt, Raymond's pants, Raymond's shoes, and then Raymond put on Danny's clothes. He became Danny, and Danny became Raymond. The body, now dressed as Raymond Sellers, was placed inside the car. Raymond soaked the garage in gasoline. He positioned everything with horrifying precision. Then he took a lighter, set the car ablaze, and disappeared into the woods behind his house. The fire erupted. Flames consumed the garage, the car, the body inside, everything. And right on schedule, Lorena called the fire department. "There's been a terrible accident," she screamed. I think my husband is in the garage." Firefighters arrived. They extinguished the blaze, and inside the charred remains of the car, they found a body, burned beyond recognition. Lorena identified the body as her husband, Raymond Sellers. She wept. She mourned. She played the grieving widow flawlessly. Flawlessly, meaning perfectly, without any mistakes. Raymond was gone, or at least the world thought so. In reality, Raymond was very much alive. He dyed his hair golden, the same shade as Danny's. He carried Danny's phone. He used Danny's identity. He even texted Danny's mother, pretending to be her son. "I got a job in another country, Mom. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine." Imagine receiving that text from your child's phone, in your child's voice, never knowing your son was already dead, that his body had been burned in a stranger's garage, that the man texting you was his killer. Raymond moved to another city. He thought he was free, but the investigation had already begun, and the cracks were everywhere. The fire investigators found the first problem immediately. The car in the garage was diesel. Diesel doesn't ignite easily. It doesn't just burst into flames from an accident. Someone had used an accelerant, a substance used to make fire spread faster and burn more intensely. Then they found the lighter, sitting on the garage floor. Lighters don't appear in accidental fires. Someone brought it there. Someone used it. Someone left it behind. The police turned to Lorena. "Did you know your husband had life insurance?" "No," she said. "I had no idea." This was her fatal mistake. Fatal meaning causing disaster or ruin, leading to destruction. Because police found the policy in minutes. $6 million, recently purchased, extremely expensive premiums. And the beneficiary? Lorena. She had lied, and now she was a suspect. But the real breakthrough came from the body itself. Raymond had a tattoo on his right hand, a distinctive mark that should have been visible even on burned remains. The corpse had no such tattoo. And there was more. The body belonged to someone young, very young. The bone structure, the development, this was not a 40-year-old man. This was a boy around 20 years old. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, a mother filed a missing person report. Her son Danny hadn't called, hadn't visited. Those texts didn't sound like him. Something was wrong. She knew it the way only a mother can. Police took her DNA. They compared it to the burned body in Raymond's garage. It matched. The corpse was Danny Hollis, a 20-year-old boy, murdered, burned, dressed in another man's clothes, all so a man could escape his debts. Police issued a warrant for Raymond's cellars. They tracked Danny's car, the one Raymond was now driving, to a hotel. They knocked on the door. "Open up." Silence. "Open the door, police." More silence. Inside, Raymond knew it was over. The debt was still there. The insurance would never pay. The body had been identified, and a murder charge was waiting on the other side of that door. Raymond had bought a weapon days earlier. He picked it up, and he made one final decision. The man who had killed to disappear, disappeared for real. Raymond took his own life in that hotel room. Lorena was investigated as a complicit party. Complicit meaning involved in or aware of wrongdoing, sharing guilt in a crime. But without sufficient evidence, she was released. She never received a single dollar from the insurance policy, because when the policyholder dies by suicide, the policy doesn't pay. $400,000 in debt, a $6 million scheme, a murdered boy, and in the end, nothing. This story forces us to confront something deeply uncomfortable. How far will a desperate person go to avoid facing the truth? Raymond didn't just owe money. He owed accountability. He owed honesty. He owed the courage to face his failures and rebuild. Instead, he chose to destroy a young man's life, his own family, and ultimately, himself. Danny Hollis was 20 years old. He had golden hair and a trusting smile. He said yes to a job offer from a stranger in a supermarket, and for that, he paid with everything. Some debts can never be repaid. Not with money, not with schemes, not with fire. Some debts are written in blood. Throughout this story, you encountered 7 powerful English words. Let's review them together. Compounded grew larger over time, increasing continuously. Sinister, deeply evil, suggesting hidden danger and harmful intent. Skeptical, doubtful and questioning, not easily convinced. Meticulous, extremely careful and precise in every detail. Flawlessly, perfectly, without any errors or mistakes. Accelerant, a substance that makes fire spread faster and burn hotter. Complicit, Involved in wrongdoing, sharing responsibility for a crime. Write a sentence using one of these words in the comments below. I read every single one.